After coming so close to winning New Hampshire last year, chasing down Eric Almirola, he redeems himself in 2022. Christopher Bell wins at New Hampshire, his first win of 2022, his second career win, the first one coming at the Daytona Road Course in 2021, and he maybe, probably, potentially clinches his playoff spot because we are getting tight on that playoff bubble. And we are getting tight on the amount of winners. Of course, 16 spots in the playoffs. You clinch your spot by winning a race as long as you're in the top 30 in the points. And in the past, it's been good. You know, everyone who's won has made it. There's been a couple point spots left. We've gotten close to 16 winners, but we have never gotten this close. Christopher Bell becomes the 14th different winner this year. 14th! And we still have like 8 races left to go in the regular season. Next week is Pocono. Then I think it's Indianapolis, Michigan, Richmond, Watkins Glen, and Daytona. So however many that is, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. I did not think it was going to get this close, but there are some big names who have not won yet, and there are going to be some big names who missed the playoffs this year. Currently, as it stands, Ryan Blaney and Truex are the 2 points guys in, and they have a big points gap. So if there were repeat winners, or those two were one of those two were the remaining winners, it would be a big gap in terms of the points. So the points battle really isn't that interesting. But when it comes to winners, that's where it gets interesting. If Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. do not win in 2022, and 2 other guys do win, that is going to be a big deal. And also currently out of the playoffs, completely a full race behind in points, is Kevin Harvick. Harvick, of course, has always made the playoffs. He's usually a championship contender, but him and Stewart-Haas Racing have struggled as a whole over the last couple of years, and they're looking at potentially missing the playoffs. It's crazy, very crazy. And then, of course, if we get more than 16 winners, we get 17 winners, there could be a winner that misses the playoffs. So that is crucial, but we'll talk about that more in a bit. But let's talk about Christopher Bell. As I said, his first win of 2022, and shockingly, Martin Truex Jr. is the final Gibbs guy who has not won this year. Bell, coming into today, he had a strong history at New Hampshire. He was my pick to win today because of that strong history. He's never lost there in the Xfinity Series. He about won the race last year if it wasn't for the race being shortened due to darkness. And, he's just been very good at New Hampshire across his whole NASCAR career. And coming into today, I can't remember where he started. He started 5th. All right, top 5 starting position. Toyota's always shown speed at New Hampshire, whether it's Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, obviously, last year. So I expected him to run well today. And, I picked him to win, obviously. But, I didn't know if he could actually do it, if he could actually win. He didn't seem like the best, Toyota, Kyle or Martin Truex Jr., I should say, looked the best all day. He led over 170 laps, but once he got back in traffic, that just really ruined his day. The 2311 cars looked really good all day. Kurt Busch led some laps. Bubba Wallace was in the top 5, top 10 all day long. So Bell, while really strong and being in a Toyota, he might look, at times he did not look like the best Toyota, but at the end of the race, he looked like not just the best Toyota, but he had the best car and was driving the best there at the end. Had to pass 3 guys. He had to pass Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, who were both on old tires. Then he had to pass Chase Elliott, who was on the same aged tires as him with 4 fresh tires. So they both had the 4 fresh. And Elliott had pulled out a bit to 7, 8, 10 second lead, but then Bell had pulled him back in and actually ran away with it. Won the race by like 5 to 6 seconds. So very impressive stuff from Christopher Bell today. As I said, that's a big deal for him because he was on that playoff bubble. If there were more winners that weren't him, he was going to miss. He was in a tight points battle. Bell, that's a big win for them. That team, Joe Gibbs Racing. But it also hurts another Joe Gibbs Racing team as Martin Truex Jr., as I just said, dominated today. Won both the opening stages, led over 170 laps today out of the 301. Looked like the best car by almost a mile, and he ends up 4th. Fell back in traffic on that final restart with like 70, 80 to go due to some strategy, and just, got shuffled back after the restart just due to the chaos of restarts. And he was struggling in traffic early in that run. We saw Harvick get ahead of him, I think. We saw Bubba Wallace Kurt Busch was actually at the front, but Chase Elliott was another one who got in front of him who had been behind him all day. So, yeah, he ends up rallying back, but this is big for him. Martin Truex Jr. usually is the guy at the beginning of the season who we look at and we say, this guy's making the playoffs. There is no way on earth he misses the playoffs. We have to think about that possibility right now. Martin Truex Jr., yes, he is, I think, 4th or 5th in the regular season standings, which is shocking that we have to think that a guy is 4th or 5th in points and he could potentially miss the postseason. That's how whack the system is, how stupid it is. Anyways, we have to actually think about, probably for the first time since the knockout playoff style has been invented, we have to actually sit there and think about Martin Truex Jr. not making the playoffs. He has always made it. He has always been a lock. We have never questioned it. He could be missing the playoffs. It is a possibility. It's also a possibility he goes out and wins next week at Pocono. But anyways, we do have to think about that. This team and Ryan Blaney and Kevin Harvick, they are under a lot of pressure right now because those teams, especially Blaney and Truex, who have been running well all year long. Blaney's top 3 in the points right now. Truex top 5, and they've been running well all year long. But because they have no wins, they could be out. All it takes is a crazy Indianapolis road course race again, and we get a whack winner. You know, we get someone like, I don't know, who hasn't won this year? We get Chris Buescher, who's been great on road courses all year long. What if he goes out and wins Indy? What if we get another winner at Daytona like Stenhouse? If Blaney and Truex don't win between now and Daytona and those two guys win, they're out. It doesn't matter what you did in the regular season, unless the only way they can make it in without a win is by winning the regular season championship, because this system is so stupid and whack that the only way you can go winless and have 16 winners and make it is winning the regular season championship. And Blaney's the only real kind of realistic option out of those ones, because the regular season championship, it's not locked up in any way, shape, or form, but Chase Elliott had a 45-point lead coming into today, and he extended that regular season championship lead today because he got stage points in both stages, whereas Blaney did not. Chastain only got stage points in one of the stages, and it was like 8th place, so 3 points. And also, he finished 2nd. So that regular season championship is looking favorable to Chase Elliott right now. So Ryan Blaney, they're going to have to rely on a win. And in fact, I think Jeff Burton said that he had talked to Ryan Blaney before the race, and Blaney said they're in a must-win. So usually when we see plus 105 to the cutoff line in the playoffs, it's usually pretty safe and sound because we don't get 16 winners, and we never really even get the threat of 16 winners. But right now, Blaney, Truex, usually guys who we think are locks to make the playoffs, and we look at their points gap right now, we think are pretty safe. They are anything but safe because there has been chaos in the 2022 NASCAR season, and there's bound to be a few more in these last few playoff or regular season races. Let's look at the finishing results. Christopher Bell gets his first win of the season, his first win on an oval in the Cup Series. It comes at New Hampshire. Not too big of a shock. As I said, his strong history at New Hampshire, so this should really come as no surprise that he won today. But, you know, he's been a little bit inconsistent this year. They've had runs where they've been top 5 speed. They've looked really good, but then they've had runs where they don't look good. So, you know, they've been very inconsistent this year. They've had their sets of problems. They've recently had a pit crew change, actually, and how about that? Second or third race with it, they end up winning. But overall, really good day for that team. One of the best cars, as I said. Gibbs has usually been good at New Hampshire, but Bell as well. So that combination, it was bound to happen at New Hampshire, and here it is today. They get themselves a win. Chase Elliott finishes second. As I said, extends his regular season championship lead. You get 15 playoff points for that if you win the regular season title. So that's their focus right now. I mean, wins are great for them, obviously. You know, you want to win, but if you can't, second place is about the best thing you can do because Elliott's trying to hold on to that regular season championship. Third place, Bubba Wallace. I would say this was his best race of the year. He was in the top 5, top 10 most of the day. I think they said all but like 30 laps or something. He was competitive all day long. He was up front all day long. The only problem is they're a lot of points behind in terms of the playoffs, so they're in a must-win, I would say. Daytona, Bubba's a really good plate racer, so I would say Daytona is a really good possibility. You know, they've had speed at some of the intermediates like Kansas, so maybe a Michigan or something like that, but another short track like Richmond, maybe they could strike there. But, yeah, it's a must-win for Bubba, but a very good run for him and all of 23XI. Fourth place, Martin Truex Jr., as I said, the best car all day long. Can't get it done. Was this their best opportunity to win this year? Could this late strategy, this late kind of unfortunate restart end up being the difference between them making the playoffs or not? I'm skeptical. The 19 team and then obviously Martin Truex Jr. at Joe Gibbs Racing, that is still a very good combination, and I would honestly be shocked if they didn't win a race. And you look at the upcoming schedule, you got Watkins Glen coming up, and Truex, he's been so good at Watkins Glen and at road courses that, you know, I think he's got to be one of the favorites to win there. Pocono, he's had a few wins there. He's led a lot of laps there. I mean, Martin Truex Jr., I would not write him off yet because I think he could still very well win. But I think today would have been the day to win, and unfortunately it is not the day, and it could be costly if they did not win today when we're looking back at this in a few weeks. But it was a really good opportunity, and it ends up not working out, and it could be costly. Fifth place, Kevin Harvick, one of his best runs of the year. He was consistently in the top 5. He was, at times, the only one showing that he could potentially challenge Truex. At the end of Stage 2, he was closing in on Martin Truex Jr. for that stage win. Couldn't do anything about it, but he closed the lead down to under a second, so it was impressive. But Harvick, he's in a must-win. I had him as a lock for the playoffs. You know, even though SHR, they've struggled the last few years, I thought they'd maybe take a step up with the next-gen car. And also, you know, Kevin Harvick can outdrive his equipment. He proved that last year when Almirola got a miraculous win at New Hampshire, but Custer was awful last year. Briscoe was bad for the most part last year, and Harvick pointed his way into the playoffs. So Harvick has shown time and time again he can outdrive his equipment. And this year he's he's shown it at times like today, but he's more than 60 points out of the playoffs. Like, they need to win. They have to win. So looking at the schedule for them, we'll do a playoff. I can't do this for every driver, their best possibility. We may need to just do a separate video about that this week about, you know, drivers' best chances to make the playoffs. But yeah, really good day for Harvick, but they need to win. Sixth place, Toyota. Look at that. First, third, fourth, sixth, 10th, 12th. Really good day for Toyota. Denny Hamlin, solid day for him. Points don't mean anything. He's so far out of the points contention right now in terms for extra playoff points that only way they can get playoff points is winning stages and races. Seventh place, Brad Keselowski, an amazing run for him. He's been really good at New Hampshire the past few years. He won in 2020, so no shock to see him up there. Really good day for him. Really good day for RFK. Eighth place, Ross Chastain. Ninth place, Daniel Suarez. Good day for Trackhouse. I forgot to mention Brad Keselowski and Austin Dillon. Random beef in the middle of the race. Dillon just hits him a little bit under caution. Then Keselowski just tries to annihilate him under caution. That was something. But anyways, back to Trackhouse. Trackhouse, really good day. Not much else to say. They didn't have race-winning speed, but they had top 10 speed, especially with Chastain. Suarez got up there late. 10th place, Kurt Busch. They played the strategy card in this one. They tried to stay out late, hope for a caution. Didn't get that caution, but they did lead some laps, and they pitted with about 30 to go, and they came back because those fresh tires meant so much, and they get a 10th place finish. William Byron, 11th, 12th. Kyle Busch spun 2 times today, came back to finish 12th. 13th, Austin Cindric. 14th, Kyle Larson. Had one of the best cars early in the day, but late did not pit for tires, and that ended up costing them. 15th, Chase Briscoe. He led some laps today. Allmendinger, Buescher, the 16th finished 16th. The 17th finished 17th. That's funny. 18th, Ryan Blaney. As I said, boy, oh boy, that regular season championship is slipping away from him. They've been close at times to Chase Elliott in the points, within a race, but they cannot afford races like this if they want to win that regular season championship, and, they're going to need a win. If they win, they're locked in because they're so far ahead of other guys in points that there's a big enough buffer and enough guys with wins that would be behind them in points that if there were more than 16, they would make it. But if they don't have a win, they got to be nervous. 19th, Jones. 20th, Haley. 21st, Reddick. 22nd, Stenhouse. 23rd, Dillon. As I said, him and Brad with the random beef. Thought that was interesting. 24th, Logano had to pit with 5 to go due to running out of fuel. 25th, Todd Gillen. 26th, Harrison Burton. 27th, Cole Custer. He was on that Kurt Busch strategy, pitted with about 20 to go. They can't have anything go right for them. They pit, they don't get the right rear on, then they don't get it off, and then the jack drops and they were doing a 2-tire stop and Custer goes without a tire. Then he has to back up. Then they can't get it back on the jack, and it was a terrible pit stop. He ends up 27th. McDowell 28th, J.J. Yaley 29th, Cody Ware 30th, 31st. Eric Almirola was running top 10 and then had a gear issue. He couldn't shift. He lost gears. 31st. 32nd, Corey LaJoie. 33rd, Ty Dillon. 34th, Josh Bilicki. 35th, Alex Bowman. 36th, B.J. McLeod. All those guys were involved in crashes. So, playoff picture is getting weird. It's getting wacky. It's getting interesting. We could see some big names missing the playoffs. Guys like 2017 champion Martin Truex Jr., regular season title contender Ryan Blaney, 2014 Cup Series champion Kevin Harvick. We could see these guys miss the playoffs altogether. But only guys who are feeling comfortable right now are the guys with 2 wins. So, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, William Byron. Those guys are all feeling great. Has anyone else won 2 races? I probably forgot someone. I'm sorry to whoever I forgot. But Chastain, that might have been it. But those guys are fine. There's no way that they can miss. As for the guys with 1 win, the only ones who should feel comfortable, Larson, he's up in the top 5 in regular season points. Kyle Busch, I think, is up there. Golly, who else is up there? I think, I can't remember off the top of my head. But guys who should be nervous with 1 win, Suarez, Briscoe, Reddick, those guys should be nervous. Because if there's 3 or 4 extra winners, then they could potentially miss, even though they had that win, even though they had that security. So, there's going to be some guys, even though they have a win, they're going to be looking to win some more just to double lock themselves with 2 wins. So, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like. If you like this video, subscribe for more NASCAR racing stuff. We'll talk about the playoffs here in a couple days' time. And, yeah, it's getting crazy. So, hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed the race today. I thought it was a pretty decent race, actually. Pretty decent race. New Hampshire, the past couple races haven't been too bad. Today had a little bit of chaos, a little excitement, some good racing, some dull moments, but it was a decent race. It was a pretty decent race. 7.5 out of 10. But thanks again for watching.